Imagine spending hard-earned cash and excitement for a game just to realise it was a cash grab from day one. Let me explain. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a game developed by Rocksteady Studios and published by Warner Bros. Games, and is a continuation of the Batman Arkham Knight game from 2015. The game follows Harley Quinn, King Shark, Captain Boomerang and Deadshot, a group of villains working as a team under the rule of Amanda Waller, an FBI official with the aim of using supes to fight those who intend to harm humanity. In this game, the world is being taken over by Brainiac, an alien mastermind with superhuman knowledge who intends to take over the planet via mind control of their greatest and most powerful heroes, the Justice League. Superman, Batman, The Flash and Green Lantern are here to kill you, and it's your job to fight them and Brainiac and save the world. I mean, it sounds incredible, right? No, it's dog shit. Spoilers ahead. Since the game's release, it has seen shockingly low sales numbers, with Steam stats showing it had a peak player base of 13,459 copies sold on Steam in its release month of February. Coincidentally, this is also its peak player base, as this drastically decreased by 10,417 players in March, and a following 1,600 and 1,016 in April and May. Its current player base ranges in the 100 to 200 range, and it comes to no surprise that some companies offered full refunds to players back in March by reaching out to their customer support teams. Although the premise of the game is rather interesting, the actual end result is a dull, slow, almost soul-sucking experience that you can't even finish. More on that later. You can only play as a single character, as the others are controlled by either an AI or another player. This wouldn't be so bad if there wasn't the issue of solo play being able to disconnect you from the server should you lose your network connection, meaning that you didn't save and you have to redo the entire mission or even up to your last save. There is not a local save option, and in essence you are playing it like you would on a cloud gaming service. On top of this, you also spend your time running around repeating the same missions over and over as you cycle through slightly altered versions of the same missions and side missions as you've just done, suffering through the potentially 20 to 30 minutes of recycled content. This isn't just time wasting, not even including the fact that you could be disconnected and repeat the mission anyways, but just lazy from the team, as all they have to do is copy paste, change the models and charge you full price for their lack of work. But these are mere side issues. The real issues I have with this game are the following: the storyline and the boss fights. The storyline is unfortunately very slow, which makes this almost 12-hour on average game feel even longer, as if it's dragging on and on. And even when you're not playing one of the 3 repeated mission types, you're stuck in your own little cutscene movie, as all of the cutscenes are long and painful to watch. To make it drag out even longer, the game forces you to play side missions to have a high enough score to continue on with the main story, almost forcing you down a near completionist route, which isn't for everyone. This isn't even including the fact that all weapons and skins are attainable through the joys of loot boxes, meaning if you want your character to look cool and be stronger, you may need to grind out even more to be able to play the game further, especially as you may not even do enough damage to advance in the game. Unless you spent £100 on the next version up, which gives you pretty much the best weapons in the game for each respective character, so a literal pay to win move. Moving on, we now have to talk about the deaths of the heroes, which, in my opinion, is the worst part of this whole game. The deaths are rather pathetic for most of the heroes. The Flash dies after you deal enough damage, the game goes for a dramatic zoom in and he's just dead on the floor. No final words, no cool finisher, just dead. The Green Lantern has a somewhat good death though. Interesting battle, followed by a moment of the classic, "You'll never beat the main boss, ah!" And then Deadshot does a cool one-liner and shoots him square in the head to confirm the kill. But then you move on to Superman, who has a moment where he looks like he's putting up a fight, going into another phase and about to put up an amazing battle. And then he just lasers at the sky and falls down dead.
Stop! He's already dead!
Just like the Flash, just dead on the floor. But then we move on to the most disappointing death of them all, Batman. Batman had always posed as the biggest threat, with the idea of the Dark Knight being this oppressive force who could potentially take the whole team out. But not only is there the issue of his appearance being downplayed for some cheap jokes,
I am vengeance. Congratulations. I am
His boss fight is dull and unimaginative, where you fight a large scarecrow gas version of Batman instead of actual Batman, removing the threat and fear Batman was supposed to bring.
朋友是一个坚韧不拔的纪录片，在香港这座城市的设置。主演钱德勒、罗奥斯、福波斯伊、瑞秋、莫妮卡和一些其他。
However, worst of all is Batman's death. He is laid down on a park bench, cut off mid-sentence, and shot in the head by Harley Quinn. An unfitting end for one of the most iconic characters in all of DC, but also an unfitting end for the late Kevin Conroy, the voice actor behind Batman in the game series who lost his battle to cancer in 2022. He had previously voiced all of the lines for the game, as he believed this would be a great concept of turning Batman into some villain and terrifying creature. And yet they managed to hurt the legacy of one of the greatest and most dedicated voice actors and fans of all time with such an unfitting end. On another note, Brainiac himself is underwhelming and a true disappointment. Having invested all of this time into this game, which is dull enough and a chore by itself, you finally face the big boss, the ultimate villain and main antagonist of the game, Brainiac. You watch as he stands before you, powers at the ready and prepared to kill you with the coolest boss fight ever, turning into a Flash clone and having the exact same moveset and attack patterns. What a great use of your 11 to 12 hours, huh? But now we have what is, in my opinion, one of the worst points of them all, the absolute flop of an ending. You spend all of this time, you finally beat Brainiac, and then you find out you haven't actually finished the game, as there are 13 versions of Brainiac you need to find and defeat, and you take on one in each of the DLC editions that they release per season. Now the DLC may be free, for now, but you have to keep coming back to get the true ending, wasting more time and effort on a game that could have just finished with a unique final boss fight and called it a day. But the suits above seem to believe that this game would be so unbelievably successful that people would come back like crackheads, just itching to get their Suicide Squad gameplay in. In conclusion, you spend a combined half day playing a slow, dull and disappointing game where you kill off the characters you know and love in the most pathetic ways just to be cheated right at the end without a proper ending. Also, thank you for 100 subs. Like and subscribe. Bye!